I don't think there's any lack of places to go creatively that wouldn't be worth exploring in the interest of humanity being better.
We should never forget this is about making emotional work so that you can still create beauty in this world.
You know, we're not designers of shapes, we're designers of ideas.
What architects and designers do is not go along with rules, but make people see things in a totally different way.
Trying to create brave and generous people.
Allow yourself to be aware of what's wonderful.
And then uplifting, maybe, ultimately. What's the brief?
You have to respond to something that makes you gasp with delight. And you know it right away. You go, da, 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 da. Whoa, that's it.
Briefs are not handcuffs or railroad tracks or whatever overused analogies we can use. I think they're thought starters.
For me, it is not a printed piece of paper. If we were to get a brief, the shorter the better.
It has changed, the role of the creative brief. I don't think it's ever been as important as it is now.
Simplicity is everything. The more concise and the sharper the point of view is as to what is the problem, the better the work will be.
You say, what's a creative brief? I think it's a short form communication tool from a client, or you develop with a client to sort of set out the mission.
It's a clarity of purpose.
A brief is nothing more than an open statement of ambition for a brand or a client. That's all it is. And that can be put in any words you care, so long as it communicates the passion and conviction of your aim.
The most important thing about the creative brief would be that it has to inspire the people who are given the task of solving the problem.
It's a great starting point. And after that, the brief keeps changing, through the conversations. Let it change.
A brief has to leave a lot of room. You have to be given a lot of runway so you can take off.
The fact that the word is called brief is interesting, because briefs can often be very long.
A big fat document that is the history of the company.
We've gotten some that have made no sense.
Maybe it's a bad brief, it has too many pieces.
Overly detailed.
Least brief of all briefs.
We've gotten some that have been a little restrictive.
You gotta be kidding, I can't guarantee you I'm gonna do that.
We have this phrase amongst all of us in the business, your briefs are showing.
And the brief was either too prescriptive or the project was the wrong project for the person responding.
So right off the bat, I have to start with the notion, without being too flip, that I don't believe in briefs. I believe in relationships. Well, the difference between a brief and a relationship is a brief can be anonymous. And I've tended over the last 15, 20 years to really work with people who give you like a really deep sense of where it is that they want to go, what it is that they're dreaming about. And that in turn has informed us on the projects probably more than any brief has ever done so. The discussions we have early on have to be inspiring, have to be about vision, have to be not just about the next product, but about the goals and the aspirations of the whole enterprise. Originally my relationship with Hossein Rahman, the CEO of Jawbone and Jawbone in general, started with a technology that suppressed noise, took away the ambient noise, but the company had no product. It just had a technology. It had algorithms. And so the brief really evolved out of discussions, out of the relationships I built with Hossein and Alex, the co-founders, and really sort of was built around this notion of everyday life. It wasn't sort of a work tool as much as it was something that kind of liberated your hands to do other things with them while you were in conversation. And we really wanted it to be about lifestyle, about how I live, not about how I'm going to take a technology into my life, but rather simply how the technology is going to enable certain things in my life that are important. Whether it's the Jambox, whether it's the Up, we've kind of pioneered them. And how do you pioneer something with a brief? A brief is supposed to describe a lot of the outcomes and a lot of the intent. So if the brief was very short and it said, we want to change people's lives through sound and music and have sound and music really adapt to their everyday, that would be a great brief. It's short.
I don't think that having a brief as an artifact has ever been the point. And, even creating a brief is a creative conversation. And engaging a client in that kind of a conversation is fun.
The relationship with the client can be pretty exciting, especially if you're working on a concert hall. It's dynamic. And now we're working on with Dudamel in Venezuela. And all of these things change the texture, the color of the thinking, the ideas, how it's going to be used, and they affect what it's going to look like.
There are many different ways to have a dialogue, and the best one is that you understand that somebody trusts you. And then if you trust each other, you can say, well, I don't think that's a good idea, or that might be a better thing to do.
Well, in really practical terms, we say no to clients that come to us wanting a campaign. We say yes to the ones that are really great, have exciting problems and opportunities, and want a long-term relationship. When the job of being an ad agency was more about making ads, the role of the creative brief was simply to tell you what media you were going to fill and what kind of message you were going to put in it. We're finally being charged with creating results, not just ads. The best briefs I've ever worked on have always been the most audacious and seemingly impossible, including the Samsung one. And their brief was simply stated, we want to be a credible number 2 to the smartphone leader. They came with a marketing problem. It wasn't like, hey, we really want to do a campaign to launch this new phone. The marketing problem that, as it was given to us, is we have the best innovation in the marketplace, which was true. Nobody knows about it, which is also true. And the only way to kind of push against their main competition was to be aggressive about messaging that they had taken the innovation advantage. Like, how do you get that message out there? And assuming that the first two things were true, which you got a pressure test, but it just so happened that they were. The GS2, which is the first phone that we launched, was the best smartphone on the market, because finally Android had gotten up to speed. They had the right number of apps, the functionality, the form factor, everything was better, bigger screen, brighter screen. So it's just like, okay, that's a great marketing problem. You have a better product and no one knows it. If it comes to us that clean, which is really rare, it's a very exciting creative brief. But who knew, in a year, and at least in public and brand terms, they were number 1, and now they're number 1 in sales. Audacious briefs, baby. Make shit happen.
If you're saying this is the goal, you can measure success by a number of metrics. But we try and encourage it also to be a statement of, maybe what the dream is.
Like a really deep sense of where it is that they want to go, what it is that they're dreaming about.
I've put the duality in the brief, which is a deadline and a dream.